Okay, we are live. How are you, Vari?
Good, great. How are
Ciao, ciao.
you?
I'm fine. Oggi parliamo inglese, sorry, I speak just a little Italian. Parliamo inglese perché siamo con Vari Giassi, che è una grandissima cantante che è dall'India, arriva dall'India, in particolare da Bangalore, ed è ospite in questa rubrica nuova che sto facendo da qualche settimana, anche perché oltre ad essere una grande cantante, siamo orgogliosi di dire che è la cantante del trio Bobo dell'ultimo CD. Ok, so now I stop to speak Italian, sorry. So,
That's okay.
where are you? In Bangalore, India now.
Right, I'm in Bangalore.
How is the situation?
Situation is the same. We are all inside our houses and the lockdown is still on. So we are expecting the lockdown to be lifted in about the next 12 days. We hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here you say now is going down slowly, but the number is going down. So I think in a few weeks we will be better, but I don't know how better, because the normal life, I think we need many months to go back to the
But
normal life.
it's great to hear that you're expecting it to get
Yeah,
better. So
yeah.
yeah, great.
So let's speak about music, but I can see a trio bobo, something like trio bobo in the back of you.
That's right.
What is it?
Uh-huh.
It's a picture. Ah,
This is a poster from our concert that happened, the last concert that happened in Italy. Pavia?
mm, mm, mm. Great.
Sensora.
Sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the cover of our last CD with the trio bobo, and in that CD there are many great musicians like Stefano Bollani on piano and other musicians, and Varigiassi, she sing maybe 4 or 5 songs, no? Right, in the CD.
That's right. Yeah.
And tell me something about how you connect to Trio Bobo. What happened? How
Well,
did you
the
connect?
first the first connection was through you because
Yeah.
you had written to me. Yeah, of course. You had written to me on Facebook Messenger, right?
Mhm.
I think it was in 2016.
Yeah.
And we were in touch, Alessio and I, we were in touch on Facebook for a short while, and Alessio invited me to be a part of uh, a collaboration. But then I think we had to arrive upon the right time for everything to happen, and then Trio Bobo Sense Around was happening, and that's when Alessio, you invited me to be a part of this album, and that's when I got introduced to Trio Bobo, music of Trio Bobo, and Fazo and Christian Meyer. And I remember I was performing at the Blue Note Milano
Yeah.
with Victor Wooten.
Yeah.
And yeah, for the album Hypnotics, and that's when Kiara came and visited me.
Yeah, I remember
She
very
gave
well.
me your yeah, so she gave me your previous CD, and I took that back home. I listened to it and enjoyed it so much, and I wrote back to Kiara. Then we started talking. It's been a great journey, right?
Yes, because when I
And
discovered you, I was fascinated about your sketch on John Coltrane solos, because you play an incredible sketch like John Coltrane and all the musicians. You play, you sing, you can sing every note, so it's very difficult. But also, I'm really fascinated about Indian music, about Indian sound, because I think it's very different from Indian music from West music, no? So all together, putting all together, I thought you was the perfect to sing with us, to give us something different. And about your getting, there is I discovered here a YouTube video when we play giant steps together, playing the solos together. Now I want to share just for a few seconds to let the
Definitely.
people know what are we speaking about. This is giant steps with Mario and me. A little bit faster. Yeah, very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very beautiful your singing. But how you study the sketching? Which is the best way if you have to give some advice to other singers? Which is the best way to study the scat solo with a lot of notes like giant steps, for example?
Well, well, to be honest with you, I have only been listening to jazz music for a long time, since my high school days, I would say. Even during my childhood, my parents would play all kinds of music for me. For example, there would be Carnatic music that was playing, Hindustani music, and then there was world music, there was Western, there was also jazz sometimes. The first jazz album that I heard when I was a child was John McLaughlin.
Yeah,
So that was my first exposure. But then later, I was just very fascinated about this form of music because the South Indian classical system of music is very different. The fundamentals are very different. We stick to a tonic when we are performing, and all the compositions are usually scale based. And
yeah,
if we are saying that we're going to perform in this scale, the whole composition is going to have only so many notes, but we go deeper and explore the possibilities in that single scale. But when I heard jazz, I felt like there are many ragas happening,
yeah.
and there are many tonics.
So,
The
just a moment, for the people, can you explain shortly what is a raga?
Okay, so a raga is a very near equivalent term to a scale.
Yeah.
So when I say I'm going to sing raga Kalyani,
Hmm.
which is very similar to Lydian, the Lydian scale. So I'm going to sing sa re ga ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga re sa, just those
Okay.
notes. So the composition is going to contain these many notes, and they have embellishments which will actually define the style of the classical singing and the style of music itself. So when I say I'm going to sing in this raga, so the audience understand that these are the set of notes that they are going to hear at that point of time. So it is like a boundary that you create and you explore within the boundary. Just like you have a chord structure and you solo over that. You have a different kind of a boundary there, right? So I would say this is like a linear boundary, but when it comes to a chord structure, that is what fascinated me when I was listening to a lot of jazz. And even now, today, there are so many things to learn. So the way the modes change, for me, the tonic note changes when you're playing something, right? So
Mm.
from there, I have to imagine a different set of notes or a
Because in
different
Indian
raga.
music there are not harmony, right? It's just one scale each song.
That's right.
No.
So if I want to sing with respect to one tonic, usually when we are singing or playing, we have this instrument called the tanpura or the tamburi,
Okay.
which is like the drone, and the tamburi usually has four strings which are tuned in this order. The fifth and the next two strings will be the tonic note of the second octave, and the last string will be tuned to the tonic, the lower octave. So it sounds like da 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 da. So if da is my tonic, the drone goes like this. So that is the very constant place where there is harmony in Indian music.
So this is like what are you speaking about? If I play, sorry, too many keyboard. So so this is a pedal, right?
Yeah.
And you sing a scale using this pedal.
That's right. Yeah. So in the Tanpura, we have the first and the fifth notes as reference. So whatever we sing over that. And there are scales or ragas that might not have the fifth sometimes.
Okay.
Then the fifth string, the string which is tuned to the fifth, we might have to retune it to the fourth, or sometimes to the major seventh.
Okay.
The sharp seventh. Yeah.
And but about going back to speak about skating, what for me is really really unbelievable is this song. How did you start to study this? So how it's possible not only to sing but to memorize all the song, because there are so many notes to memorize.
Well, that's there to memorize the notes. One memory is memorizing it in your mind, but the other memory is also the muscle memory, which is what was new to me, because training in South Indian classical music, my vocal muscles are used to moving in a certain manner.
Okay.
So if I'm singing a raga, I practice exercises with the help of that raga. But here I heard that we use all the 12 notes, right? In any order, it might be chromatic movements or anything. So for me, my voice was new to such kind of movement. And that is where I had to work on my muscle memory. So singing sometime, many times. So such movements are that's very new to me, to be honest.
It's not easy.
So it's a different discipline, right? So trying to understand how the movements happen there and trying to actually apply. So how I apply is I try to find the tonic. So I have to get hold of my sa, or with respect to do, re, mi, fa, if you take as an example. So sa is my do, that's my syllable there. So I have to look out for my sa. Once I find the tonic note, I have to figure out what movements are happening and then notate it with the Indian syllables. Then, so it becomes sa. If that is my sa, it is pa 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 da ni ni da pa ma 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 da pa ma.
Yeah.
So on and so forth.
There are a lot of chords because here few notes, but with a lot of chords. But what? Yeah, tell me, please.
So that's another interesting thing, because even in giant steps, if you take for example, the modes are changing, right? But to begin with, how I actually went about to understand the movements, just the movements, because I don't know much about the chord progressions that are going, because it's very complex. But to begin with, I tried to understand the melody that I'm hearing with respect to just one tonic. But there are 3 different modes, am I right? There are 3 different sectors there, right?
Yeah.
So my next step is to understand those differences and then transcribe with respect to that mode. But to begin with, what I did is transcribe everything with respect to just one tonic, because I am new to the concept of extreme chord changes of such difficult levels. So yeah, that's what.
Speaking about raga, what I like because we, as you told me, in Indian music there are not many chords, but just one tonic and one scale. But what I like is if you improvise using one scale, one raga. I like to improvise with you, putting some different chords. So if you play
Right.
notes, I can have another interpretation, like we did in a concert. I want to share just for a minute with Trio Bobo also here. It's just an improvisation, just improvising, and I put some chords on your voice, improvising. It's nice to. It's nice to if you sing some notes and I think about this note in another chords. No, it's normal. If this, but it could be also different. So if you change notes, I do the same. And this is very interesting for me to do.
Yeah, what I find very interesting is that it's even the other way around. Like I started with this raga called Sama, which is the scale is sa re ma pa da sa da pa ma ga re sa. That's the scale. So ma ga sa re ga da re sa da da ma ma ga sa. But you played something that inspired me to, go into another scale and then into another. Like for example, sa sa ni ma ga ma pa ni sa ga ma ga. So I heard something that you played that led me there, and ga ma pa re sa da ni sa ga ma. I again went to another scale there.
So you change from major to minor, no?
Yeah,
Because
that's right.
You play this.
That's right.
What do you talk when you play this note? You change scale or?
I change the scale, but
okay.
the tonic is the same.
So the tonic is the same, no? This.
Yes.
Okay. Very, very nice. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
And about Indian music, I know there are so many kind of folk music, but for us, do you have any advice to what kind of Indian music? Any names about instruments or singer you can give to us to go to listen to understand the Indian music? What we can do, what we can hear. Maybe you freeze. Maybe it's not. You are not online. Anyway, let's go to watch another video. Here there is a very nice live performance with us, with Trio Bobo and Qua vado avanti a sentire il solo che facciamo all'unisono, che lei è veramente So we was listening to our concert in Milan about the solo we played.
Right.
But we were speaking about Indian music. If you have any advice to us to which singer, musician to listen.
Right. Actually, sorry, my iPhone heated up and it just put me on emergency. Sorry about that. So basically there are two types of classical styles in India. One is the South Indian classical style called as Carnatic music or Karnataka Shastriya Sangeeta is what we call it as. And then the other one is the North Indian classical style, which is called as Hindustani. So these two are two very distinct styles of classical Indian music, and they have their own flavors and specialities. I train in the South Indian classical style of music. So if you would want some suggestions on what to listen to, I think I'll have to take some time because there is so much.
Yeah.
So I would rather want to make a list and send it to you so that you can share it with your friends.
So we can put here in the comments under this streaming that we finish. So and about how do you start with the music in general? How did you start to sing? How did you start to study music?
Yes. So both my parents are musicians, and they have been into music since their childhood. Mm-hmm. My father, Vidwan H.S. Venugopal, his name is Mr. Venugopal. So he's a flautist. He plays the Carnatic style of flute. He's one of the most prominent gurus in Karnataka.
Right.
So he's my first guru, and my mother, T.B. Rama, she's a singer. So both of them have their involvement in music since a very young age. So I used to sit along with my father when he used to teach the flute lessons. That was my first introduction to music, and that's when I was introduced to a few ragas, and I was also found with a capability to recognize ragas when I was very young, when I was a toddler, like about 18 months old. So that's when my father came to know that I have a certain interest in this field, and he started training me. Later I trained under many great gurus in Carnatic music, and after that I got into session music, recordings, and I learned a lot during that, and collaborations. Once I started listening to all kinds of music that made me more mad about music, so much to learn. I met people like you and many more beautiful musicians around the world.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And now Andrew is scoring your Facebook page, right? Facebook.com, Oriachi Venugopal. Can you see?
That's
right. It's right. So if someone have some question, go ahead. If you don't have question, we can play maybe something together and say goodbye. I can't read the question. There are many. Hello, how are you? Ciao, namaste. By Eric Group page. Eric is a good friend of me from Brussels, and because I passed a period of my life in Brussels. Giovanni Di Carlo, how when did you guys meet musically? If you go in the beginning of this streaming, we spoke about how did we connected together to play with the Trio Bobo. And there are a lot of comments about you. You're great, wonderful, amazing. So a lot of people. Super.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
so
Alessio, we have to
yeah.
talk about Sense Around and the tour and all the great memories.
Of course. Sorry, I was forgetting about it. Yes, because we had a short tour with Trio Bobo, and after I was just arrived from Japan, so I was very tired. You remember, we had just one day of rehearsal, and we started to play in a jazz festival in Milano, in Switzerland, in other place. And what do you remember about this? Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely, it's been a great memory for me, and it is going to remain a very, very great memory because I just didn't meet great musicians, but I made good friends during this tour. So you, Fazo, and Christian, Chiara, and all of them in Hukapan, and it's great working with you guys, because you have so much fun. It is great music, but you make it so much fun. So that's what I liked the most.
Are Italian funny? Are Italians funny? Nice.
Sorry?
Italians are funny? What do you think? Are
Yeah,
nice?
very much fun. Very, very, very much fun to be with. Yeah.
Yes. And we record Sense Around, as we said before, and with 5 songs, some original by Trio Bobo, one from me, and by me, and you record everything in India, and you send the files. So we connect all together here, mixing, and I work a lot to edit the music, the music from Vari, and then we had one day rehearsal and we start to play together. Now we have some concert in India in June, but I don't know if we are going to do it, because in June I don't know what will happen about this situation. What do you think about?
Yes, I think we will need a little more, couple of more months for everything to settle down. I think it's the same all over the world right now, because I think until and unless everything is clear and sorted, it will not be very safe for people to attend gatherings and such things. So I'm really sad that this tour is getting postponed, but I'm eagerly waiting for the new dates. And I look forward for Trio Bobo to come play in Bangalore.
Yeah, because we had some concert the first week of June.
That's right.
In India, but I think we will play maybe next autumn, winter. I don't know, in India.
Yeah, at the earliest, whenever this is all fine.
It could be, yes. And so we can play something together. I saw you just post Naima by John Coltrane.
Right.
What do you think if you play just 1 minute of Naima? Just the melody.
Sure. Let's try, but there might be a latency. We'll try and.
Yeah, but we don't play in time, just freely. So.
Yeah.
So this is the first chord. Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
great.
There is a strange
Thank
noise.
you, Alessia.
There is a strange noise. I don't know. There is something.
There is a disturbance in the audio, right?
Yeah, yeah. What is this noise? There is something eating. This is
Yeah.
crack, 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 crack. Suma, I don't know. Suma Manjunat, Vari, you are amazing, and Karnataka as well as India is proud of you.
Sorry?
Karnataka as well as India is proud of you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
So sweet.
this is Suma Manjunat is speaking.
Oh, so sweet. That's
Yeah.
super sweet.
Francesco is asking, will you be working again? Of course. I don't know when. As we were speaking about, we had to play in India next June, but we will play next autumn, winter. I don't know when, but of course we will play. What is this noise? I can't understand. What is?
Is it the delay?
I don't know. Maybe delay. I don't know what is.
Should we close?
Yeah, okay. So anyway, thank you very much to be with us. And if you are interested about Vari, here there is the Facebook page. Maybe you have other website also, you have or not? Do you have a website?
I do have a website. It's simple.
Okay.
It is www.varijashri.com.
Varijashri.com. So thank you very much, and take care. Hope to see you very soon and to play together again very soon. Okay?
Take care. Ciao.
Take care. Bye. 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 Bye.
Okay.